Kicking it with Kay and Clay. 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 Hi, everyone. You are listening to Kicking It with Kay and Clay. I am Kay, and we want to welcome you to a very, very special live show. I'm really excited about this. A good friend of mine is here on the show with us, and without further ado, I want to introduce her to you, okay? So, Tonya Myers Phillips is an attorney and leader with a track record of service and advocacy on behalf of the community. Tonya is committed to fighting for laws and policies that treat all people with dignity and eliminate systemic barriers that desperately impact the community. Tonya is a servant leader. She serves as the Community Partnerships and Development Director for Sugar Law Center for Economic and Social Justice. Tonya also serves as a public policy advisor with Michigan Legal Services. Tonya attended Detroit Public Schools, graduating from Renaissance High School. Tonya received her bachelor's degree with honors from the University of Michigan Ann Arbor and her law degree from the University of Michigan Law School. She served and worked as a member of the City of Detroit Charter Revision Commission from the years 2010 to 2012. Tonya resides in Detroit with her husband and her son and enjoys reading, cooking, music, games, and spending quality time with friends and family. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Tonya Myers Phillips. Hey, Tonya.
Hey girl, how are you?
Good, and you?
I am wonderful. It's such a pleasure to be on your show.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you
you
for
for
having me.
coming. I really appreciate you taking out your time and coming. And before we even, get started with everything, in the wake of everything that just transpired not too long ago with George Floyd, we just want to offer up a moment of silence for him and his family. Thank you. It's so
Thank
sad, that we have to deal with yet another incident like this.
incident, right?
Yeah,
In 2020.
in 2020,
That's a polite word.
it is. How would you describe it?
A tragedy, um, murder,
Yeah.
wrongful, unjust, against everything that the principles of freedom, and justice, and dignity, and human life and worth and value stand for. That was completely and utterly unacceptable. And I hope that those officers are brought to justice. Um,
Yeah.
the family deserves justice. Our community deserves justice. And it's also my hope that these systemic issues are addressed. These are not isolated incidents.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And
Systemic failures.
it is. And it's kind of I know you mentioned that, we of course we want justice for the family, and we want the right punishment for the police
Absolutely.
officers that killed him. It's like we say this all the time, and it's like, okay, we know this one's going to go through,
Right.
and,
Right.
with the evidence, and then, it doesn't. So
Right.
I'm really praying that this time
That's right.
something happens.
I pray so too. I think we have to pray and we also have to act. Persons need to pick up the phone, call that prosecutor's office. I believe the mayor has made a public call that these officers be charged. And going forward, certainly these individuals, they need to receive the appropriate charges, and then it's my hope that they receive the appropriate criminal convictions.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we also have to continue to look at our justice system as a whole. We have to look at more hiring more officers of color,
Mm-hmm.
on these squads. We have to look at continued um, cultural training on these jobs. And we also need to have more strict enforcement because that's a cultural piece within these departments as well. A cultural tolerance of abuse of people of color, and we have to dig that up from the roots.
We do, and that's why voting is so important. I was having this conversation with on another podcast that I am privy of, and
Mhm.
we were talking about how your local government is so much important, if not
Yeah,
so,
all
than
things
on the
local.
bigger stage. Yeah. So tell us why you want to run for the state representative in District 4.
Thank you. Thank you. It is such an exciting time. It's an exciting journey right now. So many different emotions.
Mm-hmm.
But why do I want to run? I have dedicated my life to public service. Um, in my law degree, I've used it to work on projects that benefit my community in the city of Detroit. I've worked on statewide initiatives and even national policy initiatives. And I look at the law as a means of um, gaining social and economic reform. So I'm kind of from the old school. I like that. I like that Thurgood Marshall type of law practice.
Okay. That's what we need.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm all about improving the quality of life for everyday people. I believe there are systems and structures, some at the local level, some at the state level. And I believe that as a state representative, and I would like to be state representative for District 4, you have a lot of power, you have a lot of influence. And over the past 27 years, I've been working, toiling on policies to improve people's lives, and I'm ready to take it to the next level and serve my community in Lansing.
That's good. For
Mhm.
those who don't know, Tanya and I go way back.
Way back.
She's one of my closest and dearest friends. We've met when we were 19 years old. Okay, that's
Kids.
way
Yeah.
back.
I shouldn't say that. We're
And
older and wiser now.
right. And as long as I've known Tanya, I'm not just saying this because she's a friend of mine, but as long as I've known her, she's been very passionate
Yeah,
about Detroit. I mean, she loves Detroit, y'all.
I do.
We used to tease her about that. Okay. Like, you love Detroit.
Like,
And I remember it was like three of us. We were going to do the dinner train thing.
yeah.
And we were in the back seat because somebody was driving us, and another friend of ours, me, myself, and you, we was like, where we want to live, like what city. I was like, I'm a straight up suburbanite, so I will be in the burbs, and that's what
Yeah,
our other friend said too. And Tanya was like, I'm gonna stay in Detroit.
that's right. Holding it down.
Loves Detroit. So for those
Yeah.
who do not know you and they're watching this and learning you for the first time, just tell us a little bit about your background.
Absolutely. Well, as you mentioned, I love Detroit. Born and raised here, raised by my mother, who was a Detroit public school teacher. She's retired now. Grew up in the city of Detroit, attended Detroit public schools. And as you mentioned in bio earlier, I went to U of M. I went to U of M Law School. And I'll just share when I was coming out of law school, my counselors, they advised me not to come back to Detroit.
Mm.
So this was before Detroit was trending, I guess,
Mm-hmm. Right.
before the downtown scene was as popular.
Right.
So they were like, no, don't do that. And like, you know what? That's why I came to law school. That's why sought out a law degree so I can come back to the city and really be a blessing to serve my community. So I'm hearing you, but I'm not listening. I'm coming to Detroit. So after law school, I started working for Sugar Law Center, and we had a living wage ordinance in effect at that time. Okay, so that's another issue your state legislators look at. So at that time, we had a city ordinance in place where if there was a high value contract, city workers were required to be paid a living wage by the contractor. So Lansing has since, kicked that to the side. So we have plenty of issues, of pertinence in Lansing, but I worked on monitoring and enforcing that ordinance. I worked on environmental justice litigation to require DPS to fix an environmentally contaminated site so our children can be safe when they go to school.
Right.
I've worked in private practice and helps nonprofits and churches and small businesses all across the city establish themselves and go to the next level to serve our community. I served on the City of Detroit Charter Commission, so I've had the opportunity and experience to serve the public before. I did a lot of work in criminal justice, and as we started talking at the top of the hour, there's so much reform that needs to happen in that area. And I had the honor and pleasure of running the first community court in the state of Michigan to structure a jail diversion program. So individuals who received a misdemeanor offense, like those traffic tickets,
Right.
loitering, nonviolent offenses instead of jail or high fines, which really don't contribute much back in terms of
Right.
giving back to society. We did community service. We did wraparound services and help people get their actual needs met instead of just being further burdened with a criminal record. So I had the pleasure of leading that effort for a couple of years. And now I've come back to Sugar Law Center where I'm working on equitable development issues and community benefits agreements. And basically, that means when a city of Detroit, and we work with cities outside of Detroit too. We've gotten calls from all over the nation to consult on community benefits agreements. But the basic concept is when public monies are kind of subsidizing a development, our taxpayer money is going to a private corporation. We want to actually put terms in place to make sure that we're getting enough out of this deal, right?
Okay. So make sure that it benefits us.
Absolutely. The
Okay.
community benefits. So I worked on those issues. Unemployment is huge at this time, over 1 million people unemployed in Michigan. So I'm helping individuals navigate that system. And I also serve as a public policy advisor for Michigan Legal Services on housing security right now. We want to prevent epidemic of homelessness. We certainly lived through the mortgage foreclosure crisis and we see how that worked out,
Right.
and we want to learn from the past and not make those mistakes again. So I've been active working on efforts to get moratoriums on evictions and utility shutoffs that have been successful thus far. Yeah, so we have that in place to June 12th. We're still in
Yes.
conversations to see what happens beyond June 12th. But we've been successful. And I've also been working on the Right to Counsel initiative. And that is to make sure that every low income Detroiter, if you're facing eviction in 36th District Court, that you have the benefit of having an attorney. That's only true on the criminal side. The Constitution doesn't say you get to have an attorney if your house or your shelter's on the line.
That's true.
Yeah, so we've been working on that effort, and there's a pilot program, a small pilot that would be able to launch in the city of Detroit, hopefully in the fall. We'll see with the budget and everything and staffing up, but I've been able to be successful on that. And I tell you that because that's my heart. It's not just my job. I just do this from 9 to 5 and I'm gone. But I love serving people. It is my heart to remove these systemic barriers that hold people back. I believe that everyone, regardless of race, sex, or whatever, what neighborhood your parents raise you and should have a fair opportunity to be successful in life. So that's what time is all about.
All right. Some
Yes.
she really does have a servant's heart, you guys, and that's why she's in the field that she's in, and I can really attest to that. So, for those who do not know, can you share with us what being a state representative entails, and how would that benefit us?
Yes. So your state representative, the state legislator votes on the laws. They can propose laws that govern our lives, pretty much. And similar to Congress, we have our representatives on the federal level. It's similar at the state level. So your state representative is supposed to represent the best interests of your district in these huge decisions that occur in Lansing. Your state representatives vote on the budget, and we see where your priorities are by the money attached, right?
Right.
So make laws. You can vote against laws. You can bring things to the table. You can keep things from never even seeing the light of day. So you want someone that's going to fight for you. And that's me. I will fight for you, speaking to our voters out there in District 4. And also you vote as a team. So you have representatives for your district, but you vote on issues that affect the entire state. So if we want to see quality of life improve for the everyday working person, key example right now, unemployment. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And our minimum wage. Our minimum wage has been stagnant for too long.
Mm-hmm.
And we're even in a situation where, um, some people are saying they're coming out better with unemployment with the federal.
Yes,
So
I've heard that.
they're working, and that is morally unacceptable.
Yeah, yeah,
Workers,
yes, I've heard
our
that.
system that pays workers, so little, and doesn't value people need to take care of their family. And I don't think anybody should have to work more than one 40-hour week job to feed their family.
Yeah,
So you take up issues like what should the living wage be?
yeah.
All of these issues that touch our life is what your state representative is responsible for being present and voting for and advocating for. And I'd like to do that for District 4 in Detroit and Hamtramck.
Okay, so District 4, in case I know there's many people, they don't even know what
Yeah,
district they're in. I mean,
yeah.
real talk. And so,
Not everyday conversation.
right, it's like, yeah, I'm repping District 4. It's like we don't know what district we're
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
So, can you break down the areas so someone be like, oh, that's me?
Sure, I can break it down. District 4 is roughly central city area in Detroit, around the Boston Edison historic Rosa Parks community, North End community. It goes into Hamtramck, kind of goes up by the cultural centers, the DIA, and it curves over to the lower east side of the city of Detroit. So um, that's District 4. And you could go to my website and check it out, or you could also just Google State of Michigan House of Representative District 4 map, and that will
Okay.
show you the exact boundaries.
Okay.
Yeah,
And so for those of us who do not live in District 4 and they're listening to you here or they see you on other platforms, they're like, you know what? I really like
yeah,
her. I really want her to
yeah,
represent because like you stated, you guys make laws for everyone. Yes, you're representing
everyone.
your district, but you're still
Yes,
making laws for everyone in the state of Michigan.
yeah,
So they can be a support as well, correct?
absolutely, absolutely. Meet many supporters along the way, and that's one good part about campaigning. You get to meet so many new people, and that's awesome. I'm a people person, and in this quarantine, I miss the interaction. I miss. Sometimes you complain about going to meetings. I wish I had a community meeting I could go to in person right now. Live meeting.
See, we're the opposite, girl. I'm loving this quarantine.
Girl, this quarantine is like, ah.
Yeah, I can just imagine. You like to get out there with the people and
I want to hug, kiss the baby, all that.
right.
have dinner parties.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So
Um,
so what do you say to people who think or even say, you know what? Why should I vote? My vote don't count.
ooh, a lot of people said that
Mm-hmm.
last election, Michigan
Mm.
went red instead of
Mm.
blue, and we have Donald Trump. So, so you just never know. You just never know. Don't count yourself out. You know, these things can come down to very, very slim margins. So where a person is saying, I don't know if my vote makes a difference, you know, I think they're real. Sometimes I think people are really speaking to the systems, which
Yeah.
motivates me to want to run in the first place. So I hear that. I hear that frustration. I hear that pain. You know, I vote and my quality of life isn't any different. So, you know, just real talk. Yes, you must vote. You have to do
Right.
that. Please do that. Your vote does count.
Please vote.
Donald Trump just squeaked in there, okay?
Oh my
It counts.
goodness.
But real talk, after that, there's a process of staying engaged. So to take it to the next level, I would recommend that you not only vote during election time, but you stay involved, you stay engaged in your local council meetings, your county commission races. You show up and ask your state reps, what are you doing? You know, so you have to stay active, you know, get involved in advocacy. Usually, at least I've always believed, you know, the things that really kind of make you upset, you know, or you just kind of really have a passion about, you know, that's usually an indication or a little calling card that you are being called to do something about it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, get active, you know, and that's the next level. So we need to vote for a start, but we need to go into policy making and advocacy and making sure the right people are in office, and
Mm-hmm.
looking at boards and commissions to get people that are aligned with your interests and positions. So please don't be discouraged. This year, due to the pandemic, which is just sad, and I'm joking around about how frustrated it is. Just kind of making light of it. But those of us that are still here, you know, it's a privilege. You know,
It is.
we are blessed to be here. Over 100,000 people, um, you know, don't have the option of saying that. Um, so coming out of this, you know, what I would like to do as state representative, I think we can't go back to the old ways. We
No.
can't. You know, we
It's
need
gonna be a new normal.
a new normal. And we can
Mm-hmm.
take this opportunity to have a more humane normal, a more
Mm.
caring and compassionate normal, laws that actually serve our community ahead of time, where we don't, you know, just kind of have this scramble approach, you know, to providing human relief that unfortunately we saw implemented in this pandemic.
That's
So,
true.
coming on the other side of this, we need to have a vision for how we want to live going forward. And I'll be that champion to stand up for the little guy, for the average person, for the working mom, you know, and children in Lansing. Um, I know I'm getting passionate.
No, you no, it's
Take up all
great.
the time and start
No,
thinking
no,
out the
you're
clock. Like,
good.
oh my goodness.
No, no, you're good. You know, I'm just letting you flow. Look. So I know a lot of people have questions about absentee voting, especially when I'm gonna try to say his name. I usually say 45, especially when Trump, especially when Trump, you know, put that out there on Twitter, you know, about Michigan and absentee voting and ballots. So how has that changed this year?
Well, I think our Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson, has done an excellent job.
Yes.
And no one should have to choose between their health and being able to vote. So everyone will receive an absentee application in the mail. I received mine this past weekend.
Oh, really?
Yes, yes. So, I mean, you're going to get an application in the mail. You can submit that application and receive an absentee ballot, and you can vote early. So, the election for the primaries for Michigan is August 4th. That's the date you're going to vote.
August 4th,
If
people.
you're
August
planning on going
4th.
to the polls, August 4th is the day. But we've had absentee voting, forever.
We have.
Time, everyone has the opportunity to vote by mail, and there are safeguards being put in place. I wouldn't get deterred by when someone says, there's going to be a lot of fraud. This is providing everyone a safe opportunity to vote. So if you get your ballot and request and get your ballot in the mail and just want to fill it out, put your stamp on it, and get your vote in, please do that. And of course, I would just add that I'm seeking a full term and a partial term. So I ask that you vote twice. Thank
So
you.
vote twice. So the
Yes.
full term and partial term.
Yes.
Okay. And so, is there anything specific? Because I see someone who lives in District 4. Is there
Yep.
anything specific that you want to target or fix or change in that district?
Oh, so much. So much, so much. Well, my number one issue, so I've kind of alluded to, I really believe we need to strengthen our social safety net. Those systems that take care of all of us, the most vulnerable, the least of these. For example, paid sick leave. So right now, you're entitled to 2 weeks of paid sick leave, and that's better than nothing.
Mm,
But if you I had the virus or had to take care of someone's virus, 2 weeks of paid sick leave runs out fast.
yeah.
So I want to continue working on issues like that, expanding paid sick leave, looking at protection for evictions and foreclosures for homeowners and renters, so we don't
Mm-hmm.
slip into another recession here. So
Mm-hmm.
that's number one on my agenda. I'm also very passionate about justice issues on the civil and criminal side, as we talked about before. Fair funding for cities. One of the cases my office works on and that I've had an opportunity to participate in looks at municipal funding and revenue sharing. The state budget, cities have different levels of funding that they receive from the state. And I happen to believe that Detroit, we need to take another examination that the allocation that Detroit receives. Those monies can go towards essential services, our buses, our roads, our
Mm-hmm.
parks, all of those things are essential. Workers' rights. People are terrified right now in many ways.
Yes.
What happens when I have to go back to work? Am I going to be safe?
Mm-hmm.
And making sure that there's sufficient funds in place for if a person lodges a complaint of unsafe work environment or workplace abuse, that we have enough staff at the state level to investigate and enforce. You know, so those are the kind of issues that are front of mind. And I think transparency and access to government is important.
Mm-hmm.
Always try and look at the silver lining or the bright side of things. And at this time, we're using Zoom, we're using this
Yeah.
remote technology. And even though I said these are terrible times, and I've unfortunately lost people, have family members, that are recovering from the virus. Our state representative before, a good friend of mine,
Yeah.
a high school buddy.
Oh.
Um, I mean, it's been tough. I don't want to digress though away from your question, but using technology, increasing the use of technology, so that everyday person can participate in government proceedings. Right now, a lot of times, if you have something to say in Lansing, if you want to give a testimony, you basically need to take the day off from work, drive all the way up to Lansing. That's 2 hours. Take a gas, go in there, say your 2 minutes, and go
Mm-hmm.
back. That's
Wow.
it's a lot to ask. So I want to continue to look at communicating with my district in ways that include everybody. So maybe you're not able to go up to Lansing to give a personal testimony, but making it easier for you to still participate and get information. And District 4 is such a rich district, very diverse in so many ways. So I just want to bring everybody in the fold. Bring everybody in the fold. Make sure. So that kind of includes part of that midtown. corridor. Make sure we're looking at equitable development issues, housing stability,
Mm-hmm.
lots of things. I could go on and on, but I really, really, really care about my community.
Yeah, Detroit needs you. Like seriously.
Thank
I mean, you've
you.
already been doing things behind the scenes, and I think now is your time. Now is your time
Thank you.
to. It. I mean, it is. And I'm not just saying this again for because you are a friend of mine. Because
Yeah,
if I listen,
I know
when
you.
I vouch for somebody, that means I
I
believe in
know
you.
you. Yes,
Friend or not, you can be family.
yes,
I'll support you, but I'm not going to,
yes,
vouch for you. But
yeah.
I vouch for you,
Thank you.
and because you've proven yourself
Thank you.
to care for your city, to care for people, and to fight injustices. And
Yes,
you've been doing this. You've been
that's
doing
what I
this.
do.
This is what you
I'm,
were put
I'm in
here
it.
for, and
Absolutely.
for people who want to say know a little bit more about you or they want to support your cause, I have the information on the screen. But for those who are listening,
Yeah.
can you give them that information?
Absolutely. So you want to go to my website. That's www.tonyamyersphillips.com. And that's TonyMyersPhillips.com. And you can also follow me on Facebook at Tonya Myers Phillips. That's my fan page on Facebook. It's Facebook. Yeah, that was weird. Well, let me add any more friends on my personal page. So please go to that page. And I'm actually having an official campaign kickoff next Wednesday
Okay.
at 6 o'clock p.m. Facebook Live. So go to my page, sign up, reserve your spot, and come kick it off with me. Please, let's stay in touch.
And we're going to share it on our page as well.
Thank you
And you're welcome. And just to end on a little bit lighter note.
so
Now,
much,
I right.
so much.
Now, for those who saw the promo video for tonight's show, it said that you're a wife and you're a mother. So what does your son do that's most like you?
Oh, he's busy. Oh man, I think he might be a lawyer. He might.
Oh, okay. All right.
He's saying he wants to be a film producer. So he's using both sides of his brain right now. He gets that
Okay.
from his auntie.
Right, right.
Oh, I tell you that child could find a loophole. You have to be very precise
Okay.
in your directions to Nathaniel Ryan Phillips.
And is there anything that
I
he
tell you.
doesn't do like you?
He's a gamer, but I think that's more of a generational
Yeah.
piece. I'm on it a little while and I'm good.
Girl, me too. I can't. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
That's what the kid I was like, all right, 30 minutes, I'm done. That was a stretch.
Well, 30 minutes. That's good because some people don't even put that much work in.
That's mama training. You have to still connect. You have to connect with your family. You have to connect with your kids. And, I really value our relationship. And, I want to, hang out with my kids. I don't want to just be the disciplinarian
Yeah.
or the cook. Right,
Right. Or the maid.
right. The chauffeur. Mama do, mama me, mama
Right.
run.
Right.
But we play together. And I think that's especially important for only children. I have one son, so we do play together. So I push it. I can get a good half hour in there.
Again, that's good.
Thank you.
So thank you again, Tanya. This was just a nice little meet and greet, a virtual
Yes,
meet and greet, just to introduce you
thank you.
to people who may not know about you or your cause, and even those who are watching. If you are even out of state and you believe in Tanya's cause, you can still support her
Absolutely.
by giving donations, because we
Yes.
know it takes money to do stuff. I mean,
It
it's just
does.
going to be real. Okay.
It
So,
does. Yes.
so I will be, helping you out. Again, I
Thank
vouch
you.
for Tanya. She is a good person. She is a smart
Yes.
person, and she is a passionate person. And that
Thank you.
combination, that's a good combination to have when you want somebody in office.
Thank you.
Hey,
Thank
Tanya.
you. Okay.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for listening and watching Kicking It with Kay and Clay. Again,
Yes.
I am Kay, and thanks again, Miss Tonya
Thank
Myers
you.
Phillips. And I will talk with you all and see you all next week.
All right. Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye. You're welcome.